Support for WICN comes from listeners like you. Thank you. Every day here on 90.5 WICN, the tradition of giving you the world's best jazz continues. And today, it gets even better as New England's top jazz artists perform for you live from the WICN Performance Studio. This is Live Jazz New England. Here's your host, jazz pianist Pamela Hines.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Live Jazz New England. I'm your host, Pamela Hines. And my guests today are vocalist Kris Adams with Tim Ray on piano. Kris is having a CD release party tonight at Riles in Cambridge, and today she'll be performing some of these amazing arrangements on Live Jazz New England. Greg Hopkins has put his genius touch of the pen to these arrangements, and today we'll hear a piano-vocal duo. But on the CD called Longing, there are quite a few vocal-instrumental unison performances that are mesmerizing. Kris is currently teaching at the Berklee College of Music and recently performed at the Fara Sabina Jazz Festival in Italy alongside Jonathan Kreisberg, Kevin Hayes, Reuben Rogers, and Gregory Hutchinson. These lyrics and arrangements on this new release are so original, and we're going to get a chance to hear a few. And right now, let's get right to those tunes. Here's Longing.
Longing to be where you might be, as daylight withers and the birds fall silent. Tonight the sea is whispering to me that on tomorrow's tide you'll be here, walking the shore, lovers once more. We're only travelers, and our joy is fleeting. Just now and then, to feel this way again, to watch the moonlight on the face of one you love. Voices rise and fall, slowly become a distant murmur. Sleep holds us close. Voices rise and fall, slowly become a distant murmur. sleep holds us close, till the daylight finds us walking the shore, lovers once more. We're only travelers, and our joy is fleeting, just now and then, to feel this way again, to watch the moonlight on the face of one you love. Thank you. That was the title cut, the title track from the CD. And now we're going to do another tune from the CD. It's a blues by Mary Lou Williams. What's your story, morning glory? What makes you look so blue? The way that you've been acting, I don't know what to do, for I love you. Sure as 1 and 1 makes 2. What's your story, morning glory? Got a feeling there's a lot that you're concealing. So won't you tell me that you love me too? What's your story, morning glory? You've got me worried too. The postman came this morning and left a note for you. Did you read it? Then you know that I love you. What's your story, morning glory? If I guess it, darling, will you confess it? Oh, won't you tell me you love me too? What's your story, morning glory? What makes you look so blue? The way that you've been acting, I don't know what to do, for I love you. Sure as 1 and 1 makes 2. What's your story, morning glory? Got a feeling there's a lot that you're concealing. So won't you tell me you love me too? What's your story, morning glory? You've got me worried too. The postman came this morning and left a note for you. Did you read it? Then you know that I love you. What's your story, morning glory? if I guess it, darling, will you confess it? Oh, won't you tell me you love me too? Tell me, morning glory. Tell me, morning glory. Tell me, 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 morning glory. Tell me that you love me too. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to do a tune from, I think it's the first CD, Double Rainbow. Listen, the rain is falling on the roses. The fragrance drifts across the garden like the scent of some forgotten melody. This melody belongs to you, belongs to me, belongs to no one. See the way the crimson petals scatter when the wind blows. Ah, the secret sigh of love that suddenly the heart knows. See now, are robins there among the puddles, and hopping through the misty raindrops has come to tell us it is spring. Look at the double rainbow. The rain is silver in the sunlight. A baby fox is in the garden. Rain, sweet loving mother rain, that soaks the earth and swells the stream and cleans the sky and brings the blue. See the way the crimson petals scatter when the wind blows. Ah, the secret sigh of love that suddenly the heart knows. See now, a robin's there among the puddles, and hopping through the misty raindrops has come to tell us it is spring. See how the jasmine tree is all in flower. The little brook of clever waters flows into a vast river. Ah, you belong to no one. Yes, you belong to no one. Whoa.
You are listening to Live Jazz New England on WICN. I'm Pamela Hines, and my guests today are Kris Adams and Tim Ray is on piano. And we want to remind our listeners that Kris is having a CD release party tonight with the whole band at Riles in Cambridge. And you're going to have a chance to hear some of these amazing arrangements that are from this new CD called Longing. And you can also get this on CD Baby and
CD Baby, iTunes, Amazon.
And KrisAdams.com maybe, or
they have links.
Okay,
there's links, yeah. And I just want to mention that all the 12 musicians will be there tonight, the same players, except for the cellist.
I was going to say I hear so many different instruments and so many different arrangements with instrumentation on it. It's just such a complex sounding project that you did. And I have a million questions, but one of them, okay, while you just did Morning Glory, was your selection of tunes. And so this was a Mary Lou Williams tune, and so. Yep. Was Rutgers involved in that, or I forget who possesses her?
No, actually, I taught a great jazz divas course for Brookline Adult Education, maybe several years ago, last century, and I included Mary Lou Williams, so that's where I discovered that song.
And yeah. So it's taken this long, did you sort of file that away that I want to record this, and then, so is that the way the project went?
Yeah.
This is sort of decades of sort of keeping a mental note for the next project?
Just one decade.
One decade.
Yeah, just one decade. Actually, I was writing a book at the time, and I teach full-time, so I have a busy schedule. And I wrote a theory book for singers. It took me about 6 years to do it. I couldn't work on it all the time. I had to work on it in chunks. So I was doing gigs and learning tunes and arranging them, and these tunes all come from that period. So as soon as I finished the book, I went right back to making a CD.
And it sounds like you, not to mention Joni Mitchell, but sort of, the lyrics on these tunes are of that caliber, very unique, really thought-provoking, just all the things. Each tune has its own story, and I noticed on the CD you said that that the songs have personal meaning for you as well. Like the Longing, let's take that tune. How did you come to select that tune?
Actually, I have the CD that Norma Winston recorded with Fred Hirsch. It's just the two of them, and she wrote the lyrics to all of his music on that CD, and I had the good fortune of meeting her several years ago at a workshop in Italy, and she gave me the music, or maybe it was Fred that sent it to me, yeah, but anyway, that's how I learned that song. There's a couple of great tunes on that CD. Another one, I love Abby Lincoln, so You and Me Love is from her 1974 album that she recorded in Japan, I think with Dave Liebman, and I've done a couple of tunes from that album now. What else? I wrote a few songs. I have songs on this CD where I wrote the lyrics. And
like
Wrong Together is one of them. It's a Steve Swallow tune, and I wrote that about my sister's divorce a long time ago. So, but anybody that's been through a breakup can relate to it. And Pulled Pork is an original of mine. I wrote it when it's the one composition of mine that's on the CD, and I wrote it about one of my favorite dishes.
And it's getting a good reaction, I noticed.
Yeah.
Did the Boston Globe mention specifically pulled pork? So.
It's funny because I wrote that song 10 years ago, and it's a fun tune. And then, I asked Greg to arrange several of these songs. He did 7 of them. And I had no idea that song would be so popular. But I think it's really Greg's arrangement that helps it.
I was just going to mention his genius in arranging these tunes. Even All of You is now this multi-meter incredible arrangement,
Yeah.
and also the unison instrumental vocal moments. They're just amazing. Just
Yeah.
the lines themselves, and then to coordinate that together, and it's just amazing. Just a wonderful CD.
Thank you.
I can't say enough about it. But I want to continue, I guess, with some more music here, and then we'll talk some more about the project and everything. We want to remind you that you're listening to Live Jazz New England on WICN, and my guests today are Kris Adams, and Tim Ray is on piano, and her CD release party is tonight at Riles in Cambridge, and it starts at 9 p.m. So what would you like to do next?
We're going to do Living Room, which is from my second CD. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. It's kind of hard to breathe when you've got no living room. Your heart is bound to grieve when you're living in the gloom. You need a little space if you're gonna run the race. If you're gonna run the race. 'Cause love is hard to beat when you've got some living room. It will blossom sweet when you've got some room to bloom. So give it breathing space if you're gonna stand the pace. If you're gonna stand the pace. And if you open up the windows, and if you open up the doors, you will see love in all its shining glory, telling you a glory story, telling you and telling me the boogeyman is gonna run when you've got some living room. 'Cause he don't like the sun when it's shining through the gloom. So let's live life today in a room where love can play, in a room where love can play. You've got Tim Ray. He's the man. Woo! Smoking. Okay, so now we're going to do a Bill Evans tune. It's called Waltz for Debbie. In her own sweet world, populated by dolls and clowns, and a prince and a big purple bear, lives my favorite girl, unaware of the worried frowns that we weary grown-ups all wear. In the sun, she dances to silent music, songs that are spun of gold somewhere in her own little head. One day, all too soon, she'll grow up and she'll leave her dolls and her prince and her silly old bear. When she goes, they will cry as she whispers goodbye. They will miss her, I fear, but so will I. In the sun, she dances to silent music, songs that are spun of gold somewhere in her own little head. One day, all too soon, she'll grow up and she'll leave her dolls and her prince and her silly old bear. When she goes, they will cry as she whispers goodbye. They will miss her, I fear, but so will Thank you, thank you. This next song is called I Didn't Know What Time It Was, and it's got a hidden musical message. how sublime it was too. I didn't know what day it was. You held my hand warm like the month of May it was. And I'll say it was grand, grand to be alive, to be young, to be mad, to be yours alone. Grand to see your face, feel your touch, hear your voice, say I'm all your own. I didn't know what year it was, life was no prize. I wanted love and here it was, shining out of your eyes. I'm wise and I know what time it is now. I didn't know what time it was, then I met you. Oh, what a lovely time it was, how sublime it was too. I didn't know what day it was. You held my hand warm like the month of May it was. And I'll say it was grand to be alive, to be young, to be mad, to be yours alone. Grand to see your face, feel your touch, hear your voice, say I'm all your own. I didn't know what year it was, life was no prize. I wanted love and here it was, shining out of your eyes. I'm wise and I know what time it is now. Woo! Thank you.
So 7-4, huh? Wow. I want to remind our listeners that you are in tune to Live Jazz New England on WICN, and my guests today are vocalist Kris Adams and Tim Ray on piano. I'm going to have to mention the master, Tim Ray. I mean, he's quiet today, but you're just like the standard that we all hold ourselves to. Just an amazing, an amazing list of musicians that you've played for and played with, and trios that you've headed yourself. We're just really honored to have you here today, along with Kris. You're just mastery on that piano. It's just a total treat to have you here today with Kris. So, your bio indicates that you were involved with both Berklee and New England Conservatory. And did you study with Dominique Eade at New England Conservatory?
I did. I studied with her for one semester, and then I had started playing piano. So I studied with Bevan Manson, I studied with John McNeil, and I studied with Paul Bley.
And what sort of, when you began your studies, maybe you sang in a certain way, what sort of developed your approach to vocal improvisation and vocal style?
Well, it took a long time. When I was a kid, I sang in theater, musical theater. I was in a children's theater, and we toured around New England. And then I started listening to people like Joni Mitchell, and, I had listened to Frank Sinatra. My mother loved him. She loved his phrasing, so I grew up with that. But I had older sisters that introduced me to Motown and R&B, and then singer-songwriters started performing their own music. And I loved Joni Mitchell and people like Bonnie Raitt and Wendy Waldman and Laura Nyro. And then I met a musician who became my boyfriend, and he was a guitar player, and he introduced me to Sun Ra, Miles Davis, Ursula Dudziak, Flora Purim, Norma Winston, and all these people that were doing different things, and I really liked that. I mean, I had listened to Ella Fitzgerald, and I listened to Billie Holiday and Sarah Vaughan, but I really liked the new kind of thing that was happening then.
Yeah, I noticed you have like, there's a lot of bass activity. There's a lot of activity going on behind you, and you'll come in and do some stuff with them, and then, you know, the arrangements are so complex, and that's what's different rather than singing a standard. Even the standards are, you know, the meter. There's always something interesting going on to make your songs unique.
They're really fresh. Greg is a wonderful arranger and composer, and they're so fresh and different and inventive. Yeah.
Now, when you were working on this and the arrangements were starting to evolve, did he just come to you and tell you, this is how I want to do it, or did you have some ideas too and you sort of collaborated?
I had a list of tunes, and he came over and we looked at the tunes. I played him some music that I liked, singers and arrangements and sounds that I liked. I had already arranged some of the music. Like What's Your Story, Morning Glory. I had a concept already for Once Upon a Summertime in a triple meter. I was doing All of You with different time changes already.
So that was your arrangement.
So I showed him, no, it wasn't mine, but it was a little seed.
Yeah.
And so I showed him my charts, and then he just ran with them.
Oh, it's just, they're just so amazing.
Which I knew he would, so.
And we want to remind you that you can hear the full band tonight at Riles in Cambridge. It starts at 9, and it's worth hearing this entire project performed live. And of course, the CD is called Longing, and it is available on CD Baby, but you can hear it at Riles in Cambridge at 9 p.m. tonight. So let's see, what else do we have here? I have a few more questions, but I do want to make sure we also get to the some more music.
I did want to say that the tunes that Tim and I are doing that are from the CD are not the arrangements that are on the CD. So tonight, if you come, you will hear the music from the CD as it's performed.
So how many people do you have in your band tonight?
12.
Wow.
12 people. Yep, it's a big group. It's an ensemble, a large ensemble.
I hate to put the pressure on you, but do you want to mention a few of the people that will be there tonight?
Oh, yeah,
or?
Great idea, yes. Of course, Greg Hopkins will be playing trumpet and flugelhorn. Mark Walker will be playing drums. Paul Del Nero will be on acoustic bass. Steve Kirby will be playing guitar. Shannon LeClaire, alto sax and clarinet. Rick DiMuzio, tenor sax and clarinet. Bob Patton on flutes. Ben Whiting on baritone saxophone and bass clarinet. Bertram Lehman will be on percussion, and Catherine Bent on cello.
Wow, you're going to use the full stage, definitely.
Yeah, I think, and more.
Yeah, hanging off the side a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, what else would you like to perform?
How much time do we have?
We have probably about 15 minutes, so we can definitely get in two or three tunes.
One together. Yep. Mm-hmm. You and I, we were young one day, and we believed in love. Through the years, we weathered both our lives together. Happy in our funny ways, but it came for you and I had traveled far from where we started. We had to admit we were wrong together. You and I, we were young one day, and we believed in love. Through the years, we weathered both our lives together. Happy in our funny ways, but it came to pass. For you and I had traveled far from where we started. We had to admit we were wrong together. From my second CD. It's called Falling in Love with Love. Falling in love with love is falling for make-believe. Falling in love with love is playing the fool. Caring too much is such a juvenile fancy. Learning to trust is just for children in school. I fell in love with love one night when the moon was high. I was unwise with eyes unable to see. I fell in love with love everlasting, but love fell out with me. La da 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 da. ba-ba-o, ba-ba-o, ba-ba-ba-do-ba-day, ba-do-ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-o, ba-ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Falling in love with love is falling for make-believe. Falling in love with love is playing the fool. Caring too much is such a juvenile fancy. Learning to trust is just for children in school. I fell in love with love one night when the moon was high. I was unwise with eyes unable to see. I fell in love with love everlasting, but love fell out with me. Love fell out with me. Love fell out, love fell out, love fell out with me. Ya-do-da-you-do.
So that's from your first CD. Now, what is the name of your first CD release?
This thing called Love.
And is that whose arrangement is that you had there?
That was mine.
Ah, and do you sit down at the piano then and then process and work out? You're also a pianist, so.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm a pianist, but I can accompany myself. And yes, I work at the piano if I'm doing an arrangement.
And the line that you sang there, was that an improv, or did you
At
work
the end?
this? Yeah, did you
That
work
was an improv.
Yeah.
Yep.
So sometimes we talked about this when we were getting together, that sometimes it's a sort of an arranged line, and then sometimes versus
Right.
something that's completely
Yeah,
improv.
Like that was a vamp, so we were just vamping on the end there. Yep. But on the CD, on the new CD, the lines that I sing, for example, on the glide and on pulled pork are things that Greg wrote. Yep. And actually, on pulled pork, it was a solo that Greg did, and then I learned it
Oh,
and doubled it. That was pretty challenging.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like an amazing amount of time, and that's the reward,
Yeah.
is that we're getting that, because the quality is so high.
Yeah,
on
it
this.
took 2 years. 2 years. We met in February of 2012, and we recorded the first tracks in August. And here it is, the summer of 2014. Yeah.
Yeah, quite a
big
number of
project.
people to try to keep track of.
Yeah.
It
And
for
I did
recording.
a Kickstarter project, so that was also involved in it. Yep.
But that helped a lot.
Yeah, it did.
Well, I'd like to thank Kris Adams and Tim Ray for performing on Live Jazz New England today. Remember that her CD release party is tonight at Riles in Cambridge, and it starts at 9 p.m. You can hear the whole band on
come.
stage tonight. Also, our piano today is provided by Piano Mill, and it's tuned by Bill Trotman of Birdland Music. And we also want to thank General Manager Jerry Weston and sound engineer Chet Williamson here in the studio, Jazz Ears. And John Marable is at the control board. And we'd like to also thank our listening audience and our live audience for coming in today to see a performance of the show.
And thank you, Pamela.
Thank you. Well, it's been a real treat to have you here. This is Pamela Hines for Live Jazz New England. So we'll, until next time, maybe you'll take us out on Falling in Love, a little vamp there. Excellent.
Falling in love with love is falling for make-believe. Falling in love with love is playing the fool. Caring too much is such a juvenile fancy.
90.5 WICN Worcester, Jazz Plus for New England. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and listen online at WICN.org. Thanks so much to Kris Adams for swinging around the studio and performing live for us here in the WICN's Performance Studio this afternoon. We are just about at the top of the hour, and we've got NPR News coming up for you. Quick look at your weather forecast. Expecting cloudy skies tonight with a low of about 40 degrees. Tomorrow appears on the calendar as